Cornball West announces his VP pick. So let's talk about this. Cornel West went on Tavis Smiley's radio show to make the announcement. It was really very non-ceremonial. I was going to play that video, but I think I found some other receipts to play. It's very non-ceremonial, where it's not even a big dun 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 dun. It just, yeah, this is a blah blah blah. It's very unceremonial. I didn't know who the person is, not until people started reacting. And the reaction that got me the most was by a person known as Dr. CBS. And if you're on Twitter, you know who Dr. CBS is. Let me see. I do have a tweet for her, and it is a she. And if you want to look her up on Twitter, it is Black Left as Fuck. So Black Left AF. Dr. CBS, who is a writer, because I know she's an author, I should say, just recently dropped a new book. And her name is, the Twitter, the social media handle is Dr. CBS. But if you wanted to actually look up her actual username is Black Left AF. Black Left AF. If you wanted to look her up, her response wasn't good. And I was surprised because being that I didn't know who this person is, and you see her on the screen next to, I'm going to give you her name in just a second. I was surprised of what she said. And I'm going to read it before I'm going to bring this up later, but I'll read it now. Dr. CBS said, Cornel West, extra unserious with that latest move. I'm like, what? So I'm trying to figure out, wait a minute, is there something about this this VP pick that is not good? So I'm Googling, I'm searching. I'm not really finding a bunch of just recent stuff. I'm not really finding nothing. And then I don't know what. Oh, I get on page like of searches, which I never do. I'm like way down at page 10, trying to go back in date, going further and further back in date. I had to go further back in date. And then I start finding the stuff, court cases, right? So that's what Dr. CBS was referring to, because she did a subsequent quote tweet with a link to an article. And then that's when I pulled on that thread. So here is Dr. West's VP pick. And let me give you her name. She is a doctor. I want to pronounce her first name the correct way. Here is his announcement of her on Twitter. Cornel West for President 2024 is honored to welcome Dr. Melina Abdullah, professor, organizer, activist, a beacon of wisdom and justice, as our vice presidential candidate. Together, we're crafting a future where justice and love lead the way. Join us in the historic movement. Two doctors leading the working class. Two doctors who were recently okay with the Democratic Party, too. I might add that part. So that's her name, Dr. Melina Abdullah. And let's look at a couple of other receipts here I have. Let's maximize this. And it's not any words. It's just showing the little graphic. Cornel West announces Dr. Melina Abdullah as his vice presidential running mate. Just wanted to show that. Like I said, this is the announcement. It's so unceremonious. Like it's not any big deal about it. Anyway, I'm not gonna play. It's like an hour long. I'm not gonna play it. But let's get to this next part here. And I'm gonna read a little bit of this article, but this is the headline I found. Woman who sued Black Lives Matter leader is Cornel West's vice president. This is about the case and what Dr. CBS was referring to. This is from Newsweek. In 2022, Dr. Melina Abdullah sued Bowers, an executive at Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, accusing him of siphoning more than $10 million from the donors to pay his consulting firm and using the nonprofit as his personal piggy bank. Black Lives Matter, GNF, was described in the lawsuit as an extension of the grassroots organization. Bowers denied the claim as harmful, divisive, and false. The suit was dismissed in June 2023, so just last year, and Dr. Melina Abdullah was ordered to pay Bauer $100,000+ in legal fees by a Los Angeles Superior Court judge last month. Now, let me stop here. Because you might say, well, if the guy was siphoning money, what's the problem with her suing? Nothing's wrong with that if you bring it to light some corruption. The case was dismissed. Now, we can assume, based on at least the legal part of it, it got dismissed because it didn't have enough merit to move forward. If it's just dismissed. You know what makes this egregious, that makes it seem like there was malice behind her doing this? Is this next part, where she's forced to pay the people she sues money. That is an indication that this was an egregious, or the court felt that this was an egregious use of the court system that she did, that it warranted her paying for the legal fees that caused him to go through all of this. Because it could have just been dismissed as not enough evidence. That doesn't mean she has to pay the legal fees. So let's read on. Abdullah addressed the lawsuit during her VP announcement on Wednesday, which was today, after Smiley asked if her affiliation with the BML movement carried baggage to the West campaign. Meaning, this is how they talk around it. This is how the bourgeoisie, because it's civil, remember? In civil, polite society, we can't say the shit that's actually happened. Is your bullshit lawsuit going to fuck up Cornel West's campaign? It can't fuck up Cornel West's campaign. Let me just say that. It can't fuck up bullshit. Quote, there's one lawsuit, or was one lawsuit, meaning it's past tense because it just got ruled on as far as paying the people she sued. Black Lives Matter grassroots, which is the boots on the ground. This is her saying, the people in the community, they like me maybe. My side of things, we have our resources and platforms stolen by this other entity, which is comprised of highly paid consultants, not organizers. She said, quote, we sued for our resources back. Unfortunately, the lawsuit was blocked by something called an anti-SLAPP motion, SLAPP as in strategic lawsuit against public participation, as lawsuits that intend to silence critics by hitting them with a costly legal defense. Didn't I tell you something egregious, something malice? Why would Cornel West put somebody, she could be great in every other area, why would you put somebody who recently had this adjudicated? What is he doing but intentionally making bad decisions to ensure he gets the fewest votes? This is terrible. And she could be, and like I said, I saw a lot of good stuff that she's doing. I'm not critiquing that. What I'm saying is, why is Cornel West adding somebody to his campaign that has this recently resolved issue like last month, according to Newsweek? Why would you do that? Unless you are not running a serious campaign. Unless you're running a campaign trying to prove people you are serious. You ever had somebody lie to you and you know they're lying, and then they get offended that you call them out on their lie when they know you're lying? When you know they're lying? That's what Cornel West is doing. He got called out. Now I got to prove I'm really running. This doesn't prove it, sir. This makes you look more like a cornball, not for her body of work, but for the singular lawsuit issue. Doesn't it, like I said when Ajamu Baraka was here, a person with this many degrees is not making these many bad decisions unintentionally. And then this is her right here, her account. if you wanted to check it out. A closer look at her or another look at her. That's her there. It's a more cartoon version of her, it looks like. And then she has, the rest of the same sort of stuff here. So that is what I know so far about this VP pick. And, this is not going anywhere. It's Cornel West. Come on.